Hey everybody, this is Jim the Tabletop Engineer and welcome to a new video. Actually, welcome to a new video series or a campaign. I'm not sure what you want to call it. All right, I have been receiving over the last, a few months, a number, well over a couple dozen, probably closer to 40 or 50 requests to return to a certain game. I'm going to do it, I promise. What is that game? That game is 5 Leagues from the Borderlands. If you're not familiar with this game, but you are familiar possibly with my other one of my other campaigns called 5 Parsecs from Home, that is a sci-fi game. This is a fantasy game. You have fighters, you have wizards, you have priests or clerics, or I'm not sure what I can't remember what the terminology is, but what is so funny is I played this a while back, and it is a fun game. And I kind of got away from it, and I've been intending to return to it. But since I announced that I was going to discontinue covering of another game, I have been inundated with messages and emails asking me to return to 5 Leagues from the Borderlands. Okay, you can stop emailing. I'm going to do it. So in this episode, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the creation of my Warband, and then in the next video we will have probably our first battle. This game has a lot going on. There's a lot of things to track. You're on a map, and there's all kinds of regions and undiscovered territories, and there's hideouts, and there's layers, and it's just a lot of stuff. So I'm going to take it slow with this one. I want to make sure I get things done correctly. It does follow 5 Parsecs from Home in terms of like combat and there are some overlaps, but there's also a lot of new stuff in here that is not found in 5 Parsecs from Home. So give me just a minute to get the camera set up behind me, and I'll be doing the top down, and I am going to use my iPad and an app called GoodNotes to track my Warband digitally, so I can make sure I keep track of everything. If you like how I keep track of it and you want more information, I have a previous video, and I'll try to remember to add that in the video description below, where you can go and I show you how to use GoodNotes for tracking games. All right, let me get to the table and we'll get started with 5 Leagues from the Borderlands. All right, let's get started. 5 Leagues from the Borderland. This is the 3rd edition. Now, there are some expansions for this. I don't have them yet. I'm looking into it. But this game is basically, you're going to create a bunch of different things. You're going to create a warband. This is a miniatures game. But you're also going to create a land that you're going to explore and protect and discover things. I'm going to skip ahead to the creation of the characters. There are different races. You can have a human, you can have a fae, a duskling, which I think is like a dwarf. There's a halfling, a preen, and a feral, which is like an animal. I really don't. I prefer to play humans, I guess I could play some elves or the fae blood, but for right now, I'm just going to go with the basic character type. And the way you do this is you can pick your characters based on the miniatures you have. You can roll randomly. That's allowed. You can also mix and match. You could just decide, hey, I want this. There is a D100 on page 15 if you want to roll randomly, but you're also going to pick one of them is going to be sort of like your leader, and it also represents you. It's like you're playing in the game. I'm going to keep track on this sheet right here. Now, one thing I don't like about this sheet is it's very dense. Doesn't give me a lot of room to write. So I'm going to have to zoom in and do things. So I'll come up with character names later and a warband name and a region and all that. But what I want to do is I want to go ahead and make my characters. You're going to start with a certain number. I believe you can start with 4. And then you can have hirelings. So if you'll notice, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slots on here. And in a game, yeah, you're going to have 4 heroes and 2 followers. We'll get to the followers in a minute. So I want to have like one of certain different characters. I want to have a warrior. I want to have a wizard. I want to have like a healer type. So let's go ahead, and the first thing we do is I'm going to have a human characters. So they all have the same stats: agility 1, speed of 4/3. And what that means is if you move once, you can move 4 inches. If you choose a dash for your second action, your first action has to always be a move or you lose it. All right, and then you get a standard action. There's also free actions, but this just means if you choose not to use your, like to fight or shoot an arrow or something, you can move up to 7 inches, 4/3. Combat initially is +0. Toughness on a human is always starting out with 3. Luck, will, and casting will depend on who the character is and what their traits are. But I'm going to go ahead and write this in for all of them, all 4, because they're all going to start out with the same basic traits, and then they will roll for some more, like some specific backgrounds and stuff, which will give them slight differences, maybe differences in personality, backstory, things like that. So let me go ahead and write all these out. 4/3 +0 and a toughness of 3. All right, character origin. So again, I'm putting human for all of mine for right now. It's just easier. And most of the miniatures I have are human variety. I do have some dwarves, but we're going to go with human. All right, if you want a mystic, they will have the same base profile, but they have a casting of +0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put casting +0, and I'm going to put mystic next to the name. Okay? I may have two, maybe I'll have 2 mystics. No, starting out right now, I just want 1 mystic. So I've given them their skills, and now it says various activities will require making a proficiency test. Having the correct skill gives a +2 bonus. Keep that in mind when I'm rolling up skills. So over on the next few pages, you find about what the different races get. Humans have a skill. They add +1 to all speech. So on here, there is a thing called proficiencies and spells. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write speech +1. And then I'm going to cheat here, and I'm going to circle that and copy it so I don't have to write it a bunch of times. Copy and paste. Come on. And paste. I really like using, I used to not like to use digital, but now I'm getting much faster at it, and I prefer to use my iPad for data tracking. During games, I tend to use either a notebook or I use a dry erase board, depending on the game. Some games I don't do a dry erase. I do have a dry erase for 5 Leagues, so I will be using it. It's larger, and I can write in things where they're more visible to my old eyes. All right, humans get a skill of speech +1. Humans are the only characters that can ever have more than 1 will point. Again, we start out with 0. But I can gain more than 2. It also says, additionally, if a human hero obtains a will increase when earning an advance, they get 2 XP also. So that's kind of cool. All right, generating heroes. I've already done it. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll for what's called a background for all these guys. It is a D20, and it says mystics must select the mystic background. Humans can select any of them. Humans must select a specific as listed in their description. If I go back to the human description for background, it says, I may select townsfolk, noble, frontier, or zealot. So let's just keep those in mind. So let's go for the first one here. I'm going to put, let's do for my main guy, I come from a small town. I'm going to put townsfolk. That was me. Townsfolk. Now the mystic automatically has to have the mystic background. But for my other 2, I'm going to choose frontier and zealot for them. Frontier and zealot. And I'm just writing it down so it'll help me remember. All right, let's go to background. So I'm going to do it in order. So the Frontier background is the first. So you roll a d20. I have lots of dice here. I know I have a d20. Come on. Yeah. Here's a d20. I rolled a 7. A 7 for Frontier is combat skill increase. So it tells you that you get a combat skill of plus, if you roll that, you get a +1 combat skill. So my my Frontier dude is now +1 combat. All right. Also, I rolled d20 for mentality. This was a capability roll. Now I roll for mentality. I rolled a 16, which is +1 XP. So I get starting out with 1 XP. For possessions, roll a d20. I rolled a 10, which is a quality weapon. So I get a quality, wrong one, quality weapon. And we'll get to that in a minute. Quality weapon. There are weapons of different grades. And then for training, I rolled a 17, which is +1 XP. So I've got 2 XP right off the bat, but no extra skills. All right, next is the Mystic. Let's do the Mystic. So I roll for capability, and I rolled an 8, which is a casting increase. Perfect. So casting is now +1. I believe that's right. Let me double check. Come on now. Let me double check. The casting should just be +1. Oh, or raise the ability score by +1 for combat, agility, tough, or casting, or +2/+0 for speed. Okay, so I do get just a +1 casting, which is great because that's what my Mystic needed. Where was I? Right here. Okay, now we're going to roll mentality. I rolled a 12, which is +1 XP. So they get +1 XP. Possessions, 13 is a mystic item. And then training, 2 is an alchemy skill. So I have alchemy as a skill. And for a skill, if you get it, let's see, skill, where does it, I know where it shows that. Mentality, if a non-human, okay, never mind, skill, it just says alchemy skill. I think that means I have the alchemy skill, and I think that means +1, but I could be wrong. I'll find out. All right, that is it for the Mystic. Let's flip the page, and we're looking at a Townsfolk and a Zealot. So Townsfolk is right here on page 23. Let's roll for capability. I rolled an 18, which is an agility and speed increase. Excellent. Agility goes to 2, and speed goes +2. So my speed is 6 and 3. Goes from 4/3 to 6/3. I believe it said you only get the +3 on +2 on the front. Yeah. All right, that was the. Let's do the mentality. 19 is +2 luck. Nice. And I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get another luck point because I'm going to choose that as my avatar, but we'll see. Possessions, 7, which is 3 gold marks. You share gold marks, so 3 it is. And then training is a 9, which is 2 skills. I'm going to go look those up. I don't know, +2 skills. I'll have to figure out what I want. In the meantime, let's do Zealot. Zealot, background, 5. That is a combat skill increase. So combat goes from +0 to +1. Mentality, 17, +2 luck. Possessions, 17, which is an item. Oh, I put luck in the wrong guy. Let me erase that. Okay, there we go. And then training, a 9, 1 skill. All right, 1 + 1 skill. Okay, done that. After you do the background, you do the skills table. Okay, so you don't get to pick, you roll. It's a random, it's a D100. Blue is high, so let's do the townsfolk guy. That is a 57, which is scouting. Okay, so I have scouting +1. And also remember I have 2 skills, so let's roll for the second one. 23 is devotion. Okay, well, not sure if that'll help me, but we'll take it. Devotion. +1. It says, oh, skills grant a +2 bonus. All right, so it's +2, speech is +2, scouting +2, alchemy +2, speech +2. The only other person that got he got alchemy. Okay, so that's fine. This one, +1 skill. Let's roll for it. That's a 03, which is battle-wise. All right, so the skill is battle-wise. +2. That's the skills. Now, hero equipment. Okay, here we go. You can select 2 quality weapons and 2 basic weapons to assign to your heroes. So quality weapons, remember, I already got a quality weapon, so technically I'll have 3 quality weapons and 2 basic. The quality are bastard sword, crossbow, longbow, throwing knives, fencing sword, warhammer, and war spear. I'm going to give my guys with combat +1, I'm going to give them the bastard sword. Well, this guy already has a quality weapon, so he gets the bastard sword. And I still have 2 quality weapons to choose from. So I'll give my townsfolk guy, I'm going to give him a longbow. I want ranged weapons. And I'm going to give my other one, do I give him a crossbow? I'm going to give him a sword as well. So, bastard sword. All right. And then, so that's 1, 2, 3 qualities. I get 2 basic weapons. Basic weapons are bow, sling, standard weapon, staff. I'll give the mystic the staff. Seems to go right. And then I'll give I've got the longbow, so I'll give a standard weapon to my townsfolk. Standard weapon. And the standard weapon, it doesn't have a name. It just has it's just called standard weapon. So it has a value. Now, for armor, it says distribute the following among your heroes. 2 suits of partial, 2 suits of light, 1 helm, 1 shield. I want to give my guy partial armor. I want to give my battle-wise guy partial armor. Light armor will go to my frontier guy. And it'll also go to my mystic. And the mystic, it says, can wear armor. So I remember in here it said something about that. The mystic has light armor. I know it did. I don't remember where, but I remember reading it. There are no restrictions for mystics for equipment, and many appreciate a bit of armor in a hostile world. Right there on page 24. Okay. Now we do our followers. All right, your warband is accompanied by 2 followers. These are generic soldiers, scoundrels, or mercenaries that have agreed to help you out of loyalty, ambition, or the promise of coin. To determine them, roll on this table. So the first one is going to be a 34, which is a hired guide. I'm going to put follower. And down here I'll put hired guide. And then the other one is 05, which is aspiring scholar. Okay, whatever. Aspiring scholar. And this is a follower. Okay. Followers, each follower may be armed with either a standard weapon or a staff. Well, the hired guide will have a standard weapon. I'm going to give both of them a standard weapon. Just because he's an intellectual aspiring scholar doesn't mean he has to walk around with a staff. So let's give him a standard weapon. If you do not have 2 ranged weapon equipped heroes, I only have 1. One follower may take a self bow. So I'll give my aspiring scholar the self bow. I'm going to erase that and give him self bow. Armor. One follower gets light, the rest have none. Well, I'm going to give my guide the light armor, and the aspiring scholar will have no armor. Resources. You begin with 3 marks. Okay, so I already had 3, so I'm at 6 now. You have 2 doses of silver tree leaf. Now, the silver tree leaf, if I remember right, is some sort of healing thing. I can use it. Silver tree leaf times 2. You have 2 doses. Okay. Spell selection. If you take a mystic, you may select any 2 spells and then roll 3 times on the spell list to see what others are known. The spells are on page 47. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Page 47. What I'll do is I'll roll 3 random and then I'll select my other 2. So the first one is 42. 42 is frighten. All right, mystic. Spells will be frighten. Second one, 38, which is fortune. No idea. And the third one, 98, which is waylay. I have no idea. I'll read those and let you know what they are when I come to them. And then I get to pick 2. So plus 2 spells, which I'm not going to do right here because I need to read them. But I will let you know what they are before I use them. Let's see. Let's go back. So I got that. I got my spells. Finishing touches. You have 3 story points. Story points, if you're not familiar with this game or you don't know 5 parsecs from home, they work the same way. You can use them to re-roll. You can use them to change something in the story. Like I could say I shot the bad guy, and if I miss, I could re-roll. Or if I say if I want to avoid an enemy, like maybe we're trying to sneak, I could spend a story point and say, even though there's a likelihood we would be discovered, I'm going to spend the story point and my guys managed to go through cover of night and they snuck by, and so I could avoid a fight possibly. Select one of your heroes to be your avatar. That's me. I'm going to choose the townsfolk. They gain 1 point of will and luck, so I do have 3 luck. And luck is really good to have. Roll D100 on the avatar history table on the next page. All right, D100, let's see. That is a 65. An organization you used to belong to is willing to help you one last time. The first time you receive a quest, you may immediately roll for a quest find on the quest find table. So I'm going to write here, I'm going to write history, and I'm going to write 60, 65, so I remember that I got the quest. All right, that is finishing touches. That's finishing touches. The avatar. When creating the character, you may begin with 1 point each of luck and will. We already got that. Avatar represents you. In the event your avatar dies, we'll get to that later. New recruits. When new characters are recruited, the Warband, the following rules are used. So you can add heroes. Followers should roll on the follower table. There are times in this game where you're going to be able to recruit a new Warband member or maybe add a follower, and so we'll have to remember that. Okay, it says if I play the starter scenario, which I'm probably going to do, I get a bonus additional story point. So I think I'm going to take the rule book up on that and use that. All right, that is my Warband. Now, the other thing I have to create is the land, the I guess the region that I am starting in. And to do that, I'm going to have to make that another video. You don't have to watch that one. It's called the campaign, and it starts on page 69. You set up your region, you roll for towns and villages and hamlets. You also roll for the map locations. You determine what types of threat are threatening the land. You establish threat levels, place points of interest, add hideouts, and then you select a starting point, and then the campaign begins. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. That will be the next video. Again, you don't have to watch this video or the next one. You can jump right in and start watching the fight, the actual combat game if you like. But I need to break these up because I try to keep these videos under 30 minutes. And that way people can watch one quick and then not have to remember where they were. And I will be back in a week with the next video, which will be me setting up the region. And that's a really fun part of this game, so I hope you'll join me then. All right, that's all I got. This is Jim, the Tabletop Engineer. Thanks for joining me as I'm getting back with 5 leagues from the Borderlands. I will be back in a week. I may post 2 at a time until we get to the fight. Bear with me, I'll see what I can do. I know you guys don't like to wait long periods of time, but I tend to film like 5 or 6 videos all at once. And so I may go ahead and just upload a couple so you don't have to wait so long. But either way, I'll be back next week with more 5 leagues from the Borderland. I hope you'll join me then. Until then, everybody, take care.
Check out the new RPG and Wargame newsletter. Each week, the Tabletop Engineer shares news, products, Kickstarters, and much more related to the gaming hobby. It's free to subscribe, so check out the link in the video description below to sign up.